Ow. Hello everyone, welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2, Watanagashi. Alright, we're even deeper into the story, into the scary shit, into the messed up demon villager things. We found out more than we've ever known, obviously, from Chapter 1. So what's kind of different is we find out that, maybe we didn't find out, but I never personally realized it, that they're demons and villagers ended up living together in, let's say, old, ancient Hinamazawa or Onekafuchi village. And so they've probably, Oishiro-sama came down. He was like, hey guys, let's get along. And they're like, oh, cool, humans, can you let us stay? And he was like, yeah, sure. And the demon was like, thanks, guys. And Oishiro-sama was like, cool, guys. Here, demons. So you don't look so weird and different. I'll let some of you look like humans. Boom. And so they've lived in the village together. They've crossbred, which is a little weird. But if they've crossbred, that technically means that currently some people are half demon. I'm inclined to believe Rena, Shion, anyone that's ever exhibited that weird change, personality change. Yeah. And this is scary. Alright. Getting back into it. I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. Okay, I forgot. Also, Watanagashi used to be the festival that they would eat humans, not from their village, of course, because they gotta keep it pure or whatever, but from other villages. Holy crap. Gah. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I'd seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out, one bit at a time, and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was. That is gruesome and nasty. Broadly speaking, it was quite the bombastic who says bombastic ceremony, where they'd rip out the guts and throw them into a basin. And then the ritual was over. I thought that afterwards, the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh piece by piece and feasted upon it. Hee hee. And Takano-san's strangely happy giggle. I felt, for some reason, violent displeasure. Yeah, Rika-chan. Every day during a lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard, and she'd work so hard, sweating bullets, to practice for the offertory dance she had done today. All that effort, all that work, Takano-san disgraced it. Even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Baby demon practicing for today. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Punchy-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much. A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how that story made me feel. I'm sorry. I thought you'd like a story with that sort of shock value, since you're a boy. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice, as she smiled gracefully. After hearing all that, did you figure out what kind of stuff is in this storehouse, Punchy-chan? See, look. Shion pointed out one of the walls vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was mere moments ago that hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. Those were not boring, Punchy. Come on, man. Ugh. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use, they all suddenly took a new meaning, and I couldn't help it but let out a groan. At first, they had looked like carpentry tools, like chisels or planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these sorts of tools before. Yeah, they came up in a Japanese history textbook. Yes, on that page introducing the Kaito Shinso, or the new text on anatomy. These sort of things, they're printed realistically in the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. No, they're not, man. Come on. These strangely shaped tools, therefore dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain a knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools that they used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung up on this wall all looked exactly the same as those. Bum bum bum. If you want a scary way of looking at it, think of them as cooking utensils. Hee hee. Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only lighting source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not. Look. Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. Let's see, coiled chain. Looks like in our illustration we don't have one. Unfortunate. The chain in itself was nothing unusual, but further along it were metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people. Looks like it could be something on the left wall. Like, oh, she moved over for us. Thanks, Shion. No, nothing behind it. Punchy-chan, look at that. Oh God. Wait, okay, time out. So they said this was supposed to be like medical tools. That one behind Punchy, that is one fierce medical tool. Also the face they gave, this is weird, seeing this kind of angle. She tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. We see that. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet as it crawled up my back. On each of the joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread the arms wide and close them in, if even. It's probably a chopping block. I think you'd strap the sacrifice down to prep them for eating. That totally probably came from Takano. I mean, look at that face she's giving. Those words, chopping block, sent a jolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it as through from a scythe or a knife. Geez, sorry guys. Knife or a saw. They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie cooking knives lined up over there, stab them with it, then you'd slice open their belly and dissect them? I'd heard stories, but this is incredible. Before coming in here, Sheen had mentioned she had a good guess of what was inside, but it seemed to have exceeded her imagination. There's still more. How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it? Takano-san had this happy expression like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. Takano-san is messed up. I don't get it. Then this Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Who is Mio Takano, really? I feel like there's more to her. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san, holding the lantern, giving out such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then I would... What would I do the next moment? Everything went totally dark. That's why I was scared. Takano-san had the only light, and anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion had started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally, here and now. See, Shion's our bud. Like, I really hope, I know shit's gonna go down, but I really hope she's our true ally. Kind of like Tomitake-san would be. The air I felt in my skin changed. Oh, I missed something. Before we'd even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt in my skin changed completely. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones, made to take away sacrifice's freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just the things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple killing functions of a katana. Tools to kill people were, obviously, constructed in such a way that they could kill people. Well, yeah. If that was the goal, then the person used them on would obviously end up dead. The kinds of tools here, however, were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now, in this moment, did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome that difference was. People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Burning at the stake, the famous method of execution for witches, will kill the person immediately. When the body suffered extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel. Compared to the guillotine, you have to wait far longer for that to happen. She describes such horrors in such strangely medical way. She was a nurse, is a nurse, right? I guess. She immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san, yeah, there you go. She really knows us, doesn't she? Takano-san is a nurse. There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true. Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome where they would grill the person. Ooh, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire. To think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back now, of all times so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of a person to a crisp for an entire night, they would still be conscious and able to speak fluently. Ugh, that's insane. You'd grill someone the whole day and they'd still be conscious. It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, pull them up with a winch, and put them on public display. Shion was behind me, clinging up to me. Not just because she was scared, she was protecting her stomach. You would think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them all out while the person is still conscious. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. It was like my organs were coiling up, just from Takano-san's stare. Though pulling them out with a winch was rather an exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut and cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying than painful. She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion's gulping multiple times in my ears. Perhaps Hinamazawa, or rather Onigafuchi village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it? I wanted nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at a times like these do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? What am I hearing? Oh god. Jesus God. Takano-san, having realized she'd scare Shion and I enough to this point, smiled soothingly. Then she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along to her field trip through the ritual storehouse. Punchy needs a new iPhone 7 or Galaxy S blah Edge for nifty flashlight in your pocket and everything else you need to get the fuck out of here. I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. You see? This place is interesting, isn't it? It's one way to say it, she says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim light didn't change, but for some reason, it felt like I was able to see all those horrible tools at once. Punchy-chan, look up, Shion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. Nicholas cages. For cages, they were very small. Crab cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. It was another tool meant for restraining people, where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many, big and large, things of all shapes were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads. There are many of these sort of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Punchy-chan, is there something in there? A person? A mummy? Where? She indiscreetly pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was there in the first place. I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things? Oh god. Shion, no. Don't do this to us. Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do but wonder. Meibara-kun, after seeing this, have you come to believe in all of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamazawa. It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't have its own era of hellscape like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things of that nature. Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of the witch hunts, that was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. That must apply to Hinamizawa as well. Well, we can hope. Just as Europe has the Dark Ages, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how this should be taken. Even if these things all really happened in Hinamizawa, they're all long in the past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Hinamizawa right now. Mirabar-kun, you really do like this village. It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a light smile. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? She suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today? What I'm about to tell you is secret, alright? Alright, Takano-san, that's your secret. We're gonna leave that secret for next time. Oh, Jesus, this got really, like, you know we're getting heavy because we're in, like, clearly storing torture devices. But geez, as things go on, Takano-san, I didn't think like her character would be built up much more, except for the fact that she liked old historical tales. But holy crap, she's scary. Jesus, I'm really happy I have Shion here. Although I do know she has the curse. I just thought about it from when she didn't. I don't know if she made the face, but when she saved Punchy and like a bunch of Hinamizawas surrounded those thugs from before. So she's got it in her. I'm just, man, to be fair, I just hope Tomitake-san outside is okay, because dance is over. My group should be looking for me. Wouldn't be good if I was caught here, right? Whew. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry for all like tongue ties, because as the videos go on, like the longer I go, I don't know, I just get more tongue tied. So thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more. I feel like I should be saying this more often. And I hope you guys have a good night. Stay away from cages, I guess. Bye-bye.